Rekluse will now show you how to install the EXP auto clutch for big twin Harley Davidson models. We will begin with the prep and disassembly phase. Use a suitable bike stand for this installation. In order to access the primary chain case cover, it will be helpful to remove the footrests and foot pedal shift mechanism. In some instances, you may also need to remove the side stand. Drain the primary chain case oil into a suitable container. Remove the derby cover and then remove the primary chain case cover. Remove the pressure plate bolts, the spring hold down ring, the Belleville spring, and the pressure plate. Now remove the entire OEM clutch pack, including the judder spring. It may be helpful for you to use picks during this step. From the OEM clutch pack, we will be reusing the spring seat and judder spring, but none of the other OEM frictions or drive plates. The Rekluse EXP for Harley Davidson big twin models comes with 12 basket sleeves. Install each of these sleeves into the basket slots with the flat tabbed side facing inward, towards the center of the clutch. In some models, the sleeves can stick above or below the top of the basket tangs. We are now ready for phase 2 of the installation process, clutch pack installation. Soak the Rekluse friction discs and the EXP disc in transmission oil for at least 5 minutes. Note, it is very important that the notches in the friction tabs are aligned for optimal clutch performance. Begin the clutch pack installation with the thick Rekluse friction. Within this thicker friction disc, place the OEM spring seat and judder spring. The judder spring should be installed with the open cupped end facing you. The Rekluse drive plate stack comes with one thicker drive plate. Install this thicker drive plate next. Now install a Rekluse thin friction disc, followed by a Rekluse thin steel drive plate. Continue this alternating pattern of Rekluse frictions and drive plates. Once the clutch pack is all installed, you should have one thick friction disc, the OEM spring seat and judder spring, one thick drive plate, 9 Rekluse friction discs, and 9 Rekluse thin steel drive plates. Now install the EXP disc after the last drive plate has been installed. The EXP disc itself can be installed with either side facing up. There is no top or bottom. Align the tab notches on the EXP disc with the tab notches on the friction discs. Now that our clutch pack installation is complete, we can begin the pressure plate installation process. Using snap ring pliers, remove the small retaining ring that holds the throwout rod in the pressure plate. This retaining ring will not be reused. Reinstall the OEM throwout. Use snap ring pliers to remove the OEM snap ring and throwout assembly from the pressure plate. Before installing the Rekluse hydraulic adjuster, ensure the steel base collar is securely in place. If necessary, engine assembly grease can be applied to hold it in place during assembly. Now install the Rekluse hydraulic adjuster assembly as shown. Use the OEM snap ring to secure the Rekluse hydraulic adjuster assembly. Install this new pressure plate assembly, ensuring the OEM pushrod remains in place. Install the OEM Belleville spring and included Rekluse hold down ring. Use a 10mm socket to torque the pressure plate bolts to OEM specification. At this point, we are ready to set the installed gap. This step is critical to achieving proper auto clutch function and performance. Using the long end of a 7/32 Allen key, turn the adjuster clockwise until you feel an abrupt increase in turning effort. This is known as the starting point. At this point, make a mental note or use a Sharpie to mark the location of the tick mark on the aluminum adjuster. You can continue turning this adjuster with a 7/32 Allen wrench or switch to a 1/2-inch socket. Turn the adjuster one full revolution plus another 3/8 of a turn. This will lift the pressure plate. Now use a 4mm Allen socket and tighten the two pipe plugs to lock the adjuster in place. Tighten the plugs evenly, torquing to 40 inch-pounds. When torqued correctly, the tops of the plugs should be nearly flush with the top of the aluminum adjuster piece. It is not necessary to apply thread locking compound to the pipe plugs. Now that we have our install gap set, we must reinstall the primary cover. To prevent leaks, Rekluse recommends replacing your primary cover gasket. Torque the primary case bolts to OEM specification. Reinstall the drain bolt. Use a funnel to add the OEM amount of transmission oil back into the motor. Reinstall the derby cover. We must now verify that our install gap is correct by checking free play gain. Place the transmission in neutral and let the engine warm up for about 2 to 3 minutes. Wrap the supplied rubber band around the grip and clutch lever as shown here. Now quickly blip the throttle to about 3,500 RPM and let it return to idle. Each time you blip the throttle, the clutch lever should quickly move in towards the grip about 1/8 of an inch. This 1/8 of an inch means that your install gap is set correct. It is possible to have too much or no free play gain at all. If anything other than 1/8 inch of movement is happening, you must readjust your adjustment screw on the pressure plate. Rekluse Tech Tip. Any gap adjustments needed after the initial install can be done through the derby cover. Adjusting the screw clockwise will provide less free play gain, whereas adjusting the screw counterclockwise will provide more free play gain. Once the 1/8 inch of free play gain is achieved, we can do our braking procedure. With the engine warmed up and transmission in neutral, rev the engine 10 times, ensuring that RPMs return to idle between each rev. Now, with the engine running, pull in the clutch lever and click the transmission into first gear. Slowly let out the clutch lever. The bike should stay running in place, perhaps with a little bit of forward creep. Slowly roll on the throttle without touching the clutch lever and take off. Accelerate to about 3,500 RPM and come to a complete stop, still without touching the clutch lever. Perform this roll-on takeoff 10 times. Now, shift into second gear. Do the same thing without touching the clutch lever and perform another 10 slow roll-on takeoffs in this second gear. Now recheck your free play gain. Verify that you still have 1/8 inch of lever movement. If anything other than 1/8 inch of lever movement is occurring, you must make a pressure plate adjustment. You have now successfully installed the Rekluse EXP Auto Clutch. Enjoy your better ride.
For more information on the products featured in this video, click on the link in the description area below. Feel free to call us with any questions or to place an order at 800-969-7501, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.